ever wondered how self-driving cars, drones, and surveyors can create detailed 3D maps of the world and their surroundings? So the technology that is responsible for that is called LiDAR, which we will discuss in this video. So what is LiDAR? LiDAR is a sensor that is placed on a car, a drone, or a tripod, as we can see in this photo. So it knows where it is using GPS, and it has orientation sensors. And these sensors, they know the position using the position of the vehicle using two components, which is the GPS and the IMU. So it knows where the sensor is and which way it's facing. So that is the starting point of the setup. And from this starting point, it would be ready to scan its surroundings and point out a 3D map or draw a 3D map of its surrounding. Now, after the setup is complete, the LiDAR sends out thousands of laser pulses every single second. And these pulses, they spread out in all directions in a 360 degrees pattern. So think of it like shining millions of tiny laser flashlights. So these mini laser lights, they're being pointed out every second all around this device. And this LiDAR actively shines the laser light in all directions. And we will see next what these laser pulses, how they will create a 3D map. So these pulses are sent out in all directions from this sensor, and they travel until they hit certain objects and surfaces such as buildings, trees, the ground, the car. And when those laser pulses they hit, for example, a car, they will bounce back to the sensor and send information. So what type of information does it send? It sends the strength of the reflection. So different reflections, they carry different information about the surface, how far it is, if it's a hard surface, if it's a soft surface, and that will allow the LiDAR to help process that information all collectively in order to create a complete 3D map of its surrounding. So when a pulse is sent out and travels and hits an object, it bounces back, as we said, and goes back to the sensor. So the LiDAR here measures the time it takes for that pulse to go back and forth or to make a round trip. And this can be expressed using this equation to measure the distance the pulse travels. So this would be basically the speed of light, because light travels at this speed, 300,000 kilometers per second. So the LiDAR measures how long each pulse takes to come back at the speed of light. So it calculates the distance to the object using this equation. So the time of the round trip for the pulse to go back and forth times the speed of light divided by 2, and from this we will get the distance from the sensor to the object. And the farther away the object is, the longer the path is for that pulse to go back and forth. And the shorter it is, the less time it will take for the pulse to go back and forth. So imagine as the sensor is moving, so it's on top of a moving car, every distance measurement becomes a point in 3D space, because the sensor is constantly sending out pulses in all directions. So you can think of it in the X, Y, and Z domain, or 3D coordinates in all directions. So as the sensor keeps scanning, it collects millions of points for every instant. And together, so every time it hits, these pulses hit an object and they go back to the sensor, these points form a point cloud of the surroundings. You can think of it like the LiDAR imagining what what would its surroundings looks like. So this is basically what would the LiDAR would see, because every point is sent back, and the moment it's sent back, it instantly draws what that point where it's located, and it creates a complete visual of that object. So if you have a car or a tree or any surrounding object, the LiDAR would instantly visualizes it. So after all these points are collected, the software comes to play here, and it connects all the points together, and it forms a visual of that object. So that it identifies the roads, the buildings, trees, or any surroundings of the LiDAR. And this will result in a 3D map. And one feature of the software in modern lidars is they also remove noise and they classify objects. So if you, especially in moving cars that have this technology, they not only create a 3D map, but they also identify buildings, roads, vegetation, and you will get in the end from these points, these pulses that are bounced back, they will create a 3D map of the real world and its surroundings. And basically, this is the working principle of LiDAR. So basically, you have the sensor, and these sensors, they send out pulses, and these pulses, the instant they are released from the sensor, the LiDAR measures the distance based on the speed that it travels back and forth when it hits the object. So for every object that it hits, it creates a point, and all these points collectively will be processed to make a 3D map or model of the object that is surrounded by the LiDAR. And so, as we mentioned, where is this used? Self-driving cars use this technology, and they are constantly developing it. Drones and aerial mapping, and as well as surveying. So the essence of the whole of how LiDAR works is all goes back to the laser pulses. And these laser pulses, they are light, and we know that light travels at the speed of sound. So that helps us create, calculate the distance that this light will travel back and forth in order to make those millions of points to make those 3D maps. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like these, please like, share, and subscribe.